The Curtiss P-40 was undoubtedly one of the most controversial fighters to serve in quantity during the Second World War. It was praised and abused, lauded and vilified, but the fact remains that, as the first American single-seat fighter to be manufactured on a mass production basis, it bore much of the brunt of the air warfare over several battlefronts. Its performance was inferior to the performances of the majority of its antagonists, but this shortcoming was partly compensated for by its tractability and its sturdiness, which enabled it to withstand a considerable amount of punishment. It was amenable to adaptation, and it was available when most sorely needed. To understand the requirements which gave birth to the P-40, it is necessary to appreciate the United States' strategic thinking in the early 30s. Between the two world wars, fighter development in the USA fell behind international standards, principally because of the United States Army Air Corps' preoccupation with the long-range bomber, which had prior claim on the limited air appropriations. At that time, there was a very slim performance margin between the bomber and the fighter, and it was believed that the defensive armament of the larger aircraft would prove more than a match for the destructive ability of the smaller. When the requirements for the P-40 were formulated, no prospect of high-altitude enemy attack against the USA was envisaged, so that coastal defense and ground attack were the main tasks indicated. Low-altitude flying qualities and rugged construction therefore received priority, and in fact, the P-40 was subsequently to prove itself an excellent ground attack weapon. But at the time of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, this fighter was already approaching obsolescence, despite having been in production for less than 2 years. Nevertheless, between 1940 and 1944, when acceptances were terminated, a total of 13,738 P-40 fighters were delivered to the USAAF, the peak number in service being 2,499 in April 1944.